Life is a game, folks, and if you don't understand the game, then you end up getting played by the game. And it took me a long time to understand the game. And more importantly is understand that there is a game being played and there are pieces on the chessboard. And if you don't understand what is happening, you end up being like a pawn. And that's like the lowest level piece on the chessboard. So, anyway, that was really eye-opening for me. And another eye-opening thing that I realized over the years was the importance of building wealth quietly, getting rich quietly without people noticing. And I think this is a really wise strategy that very few people are aware of. Like, most people grow up thinking, they get programmed by what they see on TV, maybe what they see on music videos, maybe what they see on what they see their favorite celebrities in Hollywood doing. All of that it's a big show. It's a big game. And at the end of the day, a lot of people don't even realize that most of these celebrities are getting paid by companies that are selling products to you through them. Listen to a lot of the lyrics of music's songs that you hear, at least in the hip hop community, for example. I often hear, it's not very hard to see or to identify that they're clearly trying to push a particular message. And I don't know if this takes place in all genres of music, but I definitely hear it there. But I know for a fact that getting rich quietly, without people knowing and keeping it a secret, is the smartest, safest way of doing it. And one way by doing this is when you get a raise, don't tell the world you got a raise. Don't elevate your lifestyle to basically suck up this financial increase that you've received in the form of a raise, because all you're doing at that point is you're making yourself, you're furthering the wage slave situation by doing that. So this is often referred to as being called lifestyle creep. So you make a little bit more money, and because you got a little bit more cushion, you got a little bit more money, we start increasing our lifestyle. And this is a dangerous pattern to participate in. So what I've done is I used to do that, and I found myself deeply in credit card debt for many, many years. And after I realized the pattern was taking place, I did everything in my power to reverse that pattern. By the way, if you guys are new to the channel, appreciate you guys jumping in and hanging out with me. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Just let me know what state you guys are watching from. And if you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I totally appreciate you guys. But yeah, so many people fall victim to this lifestyle creep. And oftentimes it's not even your fault, because they don't teach you this stuff in school. And it's part of the game. Because if you actually go back to the history of school was never really created to make you wealthy, to make you to give you the tools to be able to retire early and live life on your terms. School was originally created just to create workers to work for the elitists who created the institution called school. Then they further marketed, they took it a step further. Many years down the line, they created post-secondary education opportunities, aka colleges, to sell you further education. And ultimately, you have some of these, let's just call them Ivy League schools, some of the top tier schools, if you want to call them that. And effectively what they've done is they have created luxury branded education, so that now not only do you get an education from these institutions, but you get to pay 500% more for it, just so that you can get a special badge on a piece of paper after several years of hopefully actually graduating. But what they don't talk about is how many people don't graduate and still walk away with 6 figures in student loan debt. That's a whole nother story for another day. But going back to building wealth quietly, right? A lot of people don't realize that the average millionaire, you wouldn't even recognize them on the street as being a millionaire. And there's several research papers out there that talk about this, but I've actually observed it myself personally. No one would realize, my accomplishments or what I have based on the way I look. I just look like a regular dude, and I am a regular guy. But I'm a guy who understands the game, and I just decided I didn't want to play the game that they were pushing onto society. I decided to rewrite the rules for myself, and so I did. And I like sharing this information with people because it was a complete game changer for me. Anyway, the average millionaire isn't wearing $400 pair of jeans. They're not wearing, super luxury branded items. They're not carrying $5,000 handbags. They're not necessarily wearing red bottom shoes or going out to, $500 a night or $500 dinners every night. They're not necessarily doing these things. They're not driving luxury cars or, Lamborghini Uruses on a daily basis. So this is not normal. However, our society is built on consumption. If you look at the United States GDP, a large component of the United States GDP is based on consumer purchases. Consumers just constantly running that credit card, running that American Express card up to buy things that they can't afford because they have taught society to view materialistic items as success trophies. Now, with all of that being said, I don't want to say that no wealthy people or no quote unquote rich people actually have nice stuff. That would be a lie. That's not true. But I want you guys to understand that just because you see someone with nice things, don't just assume that they're wealthy. Some folks are riding around out here with $3,500 car payments, and they're one paycheck away from the repo man showing up at 3:30 in the morning to pick up that vehicle. So, just because you see a G-Wagon driving down the street, don't necessarily assume that the driver of that G-Wagon is doing as well as you think that they are. So you got to watch out for lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep's really important. And these are just some lessons that I've learned over the last 40 years that I hope to share with you guys, in the next 15 minutes here. So the other thing is a lot of folks are completely unaware that you can create LLCs for pennies on a dollar. And what LLCs are limited liability corporations, and there are certain states whereby if you open your LLCs in certain states, you actually get additional protections. I'm talking about protections from lawsuits, protection from, we're talking about being able to hide your assets. We're talking about LLCs in particular states that allow you to get certain tax advantages. So LLCs can be used for a number of reasons, not only to protect yourself legally and financially, but it'll also allow you to hide your assets, which could be incredibly beneficial to you and can also help you to build assets. And I think I'll talk about that in a future video because that's a pretty lengthy discussion, but I just wanted to kind of open your eyes up to the power of LLCs. Now, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do have several LLCs myself, and I leverage them, to the extent that the law allows. So LLCs are really, really powerful tools that unfortunately a lot of people don't even understand. And when you have an LLC, you can also, you can go to Dun & Bradstreet, get yourself start building business credit, get yourself an EIN number, which you would really want to have when you set up your LLC to begin with. You want to have your EIN number, but you can also begin building business credit, which would actually be separate from your personal credit. Another tool that wealthy people use that many broke, poor people or uneducated people just aren't aware of these options being available. And I didn't always know about these things. I just happened to be lucky enough, curious enough to do research on my own, happen to be in the right circles, surrounding myself with people who are actually trying to achieve similar goals as myself, who happen to be further along than me. I learned a lot from different people who may or may not realize that they were mentors to me. Mentors aren't necessarily how you might perceive them to be. Mentors can come in many different forms. And sometimes mentors can be simply authors of books. Mentors can be complete idiots. Some of these people are just complete idiots on the road. Sidebar, when you guys are out on the road, you have to drive for other people. You have to watch the patterns that are setting up. And, you know, my son, you know, he's going to be driving soon, and I try to teach him. I don't teach him as often as I should, because I have the time. I just generally don't make the time to take him out. But driving is more than just following the rules of the road. You have to be aware of what other people are doing. Much like in the world of business, you need to be aware of what other people are doing, and you need to position yourself in life and on the road to accommodate for the ignorance that frequently takes place around you. So as to better position yourself to take advantage of good opportunities and to be able to evade negative consequences for being in the right place at the wrong time, if you understand what I mean. But anyway, so getting back to it. But yeah, LLCs, very, very powerful tool. Shout out to all of my mentors throughout my life, and shout out and I thank God for the mentors that I have yet to cross paths with. And I also look forward to mentoring more, because I've mentored many people throughout the years. I look forward to mentoring more people in the future. As you move forward in life, it's always good to surround yourself with people who are on your level, ahead of you, and also behind you. And I realize that if you only surround yourself with people who are just like you, it's kind of hard to pull forward, because the average will kind of like, it'll kind of keep you where you're at. And I don't believe in staying still, because you're never really still. You're either moving forward or you're moving backward. So what I like about having three classes or three groups of people that I hang out with, there's a reason for this. So I like hanging out with people who are on my level, because it's kind of like a comfort zone, right? You feel real comfortable with people who are doing what you're doing. You're kind of like on your same level, whether it's income or interests and things of that nature, right? But also, when you hang out with people who are ahead of you, it's kind of like playing a game with someone who's way better than you. They will kick your ass, right? But if you're trying to win, it will force you to elevate your own skills, and eventually over time you become better. And you may never be able to beat that other player who's better than you, but playing against a better player forces you to adapt, learn new skills, and ultimately become better, right? So that's one of the advantages of hanging out with people who are ahead of you. It can provide you with inspiration. So you don't necessarily have to compete or want to compete with people who are ahead of you, but they can provide you with a significant source of inspiration, which, if you're hanging out with people who are already doing what you're doing, it's kind of hard to be inspired by someone who's where you're at, if that makes sense. But the other reason I like to hang out with people who are behind where I'm at is because I can be the source of inspiration. I can be the source of, hey, dude, let me help you out with that. I've already been there. You know, I struggled with that too. This is what I learned. This is what I found out. I use this to help move us forward. So it's kind of like, it's really a cycle. It's a cycle of pulling people forward, being pulled forward, and I love it. So anyway, I just wanted to share some of these lessons that I've learned over the years about building wealth quietly, under the radar, and doing it successfully. And I think I'm thoroughly convinced everyone can do it. And these are just some of the lessons. I'm going to keep dropping knowledge nuggets day by day. If you guys appreciate the content, the updates, the hopefully financial motivation and inspiration, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.